From dead dads
to murderous mistresses.
This week we're reviewing Ballerina and Sunrise, A Song of Two Humans.
This is the Film Angle.
Welcome to the Film Angle, a podcast where we dive deep into the latest releases and unearth the classics to better our cinephilic curiosity. I'm Alex.
And I'm Kris.
And today we're on video. However, if you are listening to this, don't worry. We are still audibly visible. Is that a thing?
So you can still find us through the medium of typical podcasts. Is that what you're saying?
We still podcast.
Yes.
But also video.
Yeah, and it's a little bit nerve-wracking. You have to see our mangled, gnarled faces for the very first time.
Yeah.
Which is as daunting for us as is probably as daunting for you guys. But bear with us. We're,
Yeah, we are in a bit of a makeshift set at the moment. We've got lights going on. We've got producer Lauren behind the camera who's letting us know if the camera ever messes up at any point. We've also got dogs around us. They might come in at any time. And I'm already getting hot in my Film Angle hat. So I'm thinking...
That's why I'm not wearing the hat.
I'm taking the hat off immediately. And our audio...
It's like he's bald underneath.
Our audio listeners are already like, what the hell am I missing out on? But yeah, I mean, I guess that's kind of the point. We want you to like jump in and out sometimes.
Yeah.
If you're on Spotify, you should be able to see this.
I mean, you tell me.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I upload it. You should be able to see it. But we're calling this the Film Angle 3.0 internally, not externally.
Yeah.
But yeah, last year we obviously rebranded to our new logo, new music, and now I think this is the next stage in our journey where we're now video.
Exactly. I wouldn't say it's like final form because, I feel like there's going to be a 7.0 at some stage, but, we're trying.
And it's worth saying we don't live in the same area, so we're not actually going to be together all the time.
Yes.
So this is a home show then. This is the first of its kind. I think the only ever time that we recorded in person together was with the Cineboys, right?
Yeah, that's right. But even that wasn't video.
No, that was audio. But it was just weird even just not seeing you through a computer screen.
Yes, absolutely. Yeah, I think we're on episode 13...
This will be 139.
139.
Which is a weird number to start the Film Angle 3.0. You've made me doubt everything.
I mean, when the idea comes and you can like bring it to fruition, that's the right time to do anything.
Definitely. So yeah, we're trying it as we go. So it might be a little bit rough to begin with. We got a green screen. We've got a few lights going on. We're doing it in my house. We've got different mics because we don't, the mics that we usually use are just on like a little tripod stand. So we can't really hold them up to us, and we haven't got the whole arm thing going yet, but maybe that's something in the future. But we thought we've got these little DJI mics ready to go.
Yeah.
They're clipped to us. So the sound might sound slightly different.
Yeah, but do you know what's really nice? Like, whenever you're doing, like, over the webcam, there is a sort of, like, there's naturally going to be a delay and a lag. So there is a little bit of, like, a turn-taking, like, quality that you got to learn whenever you do podcasting that way. So it's kind of nice that, like, not today we're going to be talking over each other, but, like, we can kind of not have to think about that as much. It's kind of a bit more like a chat, which is nice.
And if we both, one of us loves the film, one of us hates the film, we can have a physical fight.
Yeah. Sometimes I want to like reach in and just like, strangle you, just look so strangleable. That's a word.
Yeah, especially when I'm making like really good points. I'm making like amazing.
Yeah, and I'm just like, fuck, he's got me. All I can do is just like beat him up.
Yeah, which happens a lot.
Yeah.
It happens a lot. But yeah, we're here. We're going to review 2 films today. Mm-hmm. So we're kind of in our regular format.
Sure.
Minus 1 film. But yeah, I mean, we'll get into it in a minute, but I just want to say thank you again to Janet, who was on our episode last week and did the Cannes preview. I was really a big fan of that episode, like doing something a little bit different.
Yeah.
Previewing a festival which we haven't been to, but obviously we could take a lot of advice and suggestions as to like, how do we get there next year? That's the goal, right?
Yeah. I'd love to.
We want to, but yeah, our real jobs get in the way sometimes. But we want to go. But then also, what films are we going to watch for the remainder of the year? Because if we remember rightly, Anora won the Palme d'Or last year.
Yeah, came out of nowhere and it's became like a household staple. So yeah, you never know. The best movies are always the ones that like someone recommends you, or the ones you never saw coming on your radar. I always feel anyway. So yeah, lots of exciting things to come.
Definitely. So thank you again to Janet. And if you haven't listened to that episode, really worth checking that one out. If you're an aspiring film critic or journalist, or you just want to hear what was good at the Cannes Film Festival and what it's like, because it is the biggest film festival in the world. So
yeah, I follow Janet on her letterbox. She's great on there, and I kind of take her opinions pretty seriously.
100%.
She seems to have a pretty good head on her shoulders, so that's always a really good start.
Definitely. But shall we now critique other films?
Yeah.
Shall we be the film critics now?
I think so.
Shall we? All right, let's get into our main review of the show.
Okay, let's go. So, Alex, the first movie we're talking about today is Ballerina, which is a spin-off of sorts from the John Wick franchise. It's set during and after John Wick 3, so hopefully that's fresh in your mind. You can kind of remember the events of that movie. And follows Ana de Armas' character, Eve Macaro, who joins the Ruska Roma, kind of like the assassin ballerina corps.
Hence the title.
Exactly.
Yeah.
There's a lot of like Tchaikovsky, Swan Lake stuff put in this movie, but it follows her journey from a young girl whose father is murdered by a cult group, and she joins this ballerina operation corps to kind of train herself and avenge her father's death. And that's basically, like, through a microscope, the core plot of this movie.
Yes. And we will keep spoiler-free for the first part of this review. We'll let you know when we go on into spoilers.
Sure.
And maybe we'll do something cool now that we're on video. Maybe we'll have like a big letters come up on the screen or something.
Yeah. Oh, I thought you were going to like allude to a certain flamethrower that comes up.
Oh, you think I should flamethrower? I think we'll go for basic edits to begin with, and maybe later on we'll go for flamethrower spoiler warnings in the background. But I like that you think that I can do that, which is nice.
Oh yeah, like a transformer, just like your hands disappear and just like little flames come out.
I meant, like, if you're an audio listener, that didn't happen. I'm telling you now, I don't have the skills to do
as realistic as that sounded.
Okay, you knocked me off. We just go spoiler free to begin with. But I mean, shall we first get into a little bit, like, the John Wick franchise? I don't feel like we've spoken about it a lot on the show. I think when in the early days when we first started, I think we had seen it at separate times, so maybe we weren't like conjoined on it. It was like a mini review, but
did we review Chapter 4?
Not properly, no.
Okay.
Because I think you saw it in the cinema?
Yes, and you caught up to it later.
Much later. Yeah. So we never really jumped into it. But like, what are your thoughts overall on the John Wick franchise?
I really like the franchise in general. I'm a little bit unsure of where, I think it's unsure of where it's kind of going at the moment, and it's kind of playing around with that, hence why we're getting this Ballerina movie. But I've enjoyed the franchise up to this moment, pretty much all the movies. It's quite interesting when you go back to the first John Wick and see how kind of, not humble, but sort of like that way, how its beginnings, you see its roots, and it never really intended to be such a big world-building thing as it came to be, but I actually really like that. Every movie kind of had its own little flavor and escalation, and I think it's a pretty good place. So I came into Ballerina with low-ish expectations because, you know, how it could have just been another one of these movies. Yeah,
like, it's a spin-off of a franchise we already like. And I'll say with the John Wick franchise, I've enjoyed pretty much all of them.
Yeah.
I'm actually a really big fan of 3. I think 3 is my favorite out of the John Wick films. But yeah, I love the kind of world building, which they really kind of kick into gear in the second film, and they do all this crazy stuff, which kind of allows then for them to go off and do spin-off films. So they did the Continental TV show.
Yes, I haven't seen that.
I haven't seen that either.
That's the sort of stuff I don't like when these franchises kind of get unwieldy.
And I don't like John Wick enough to start watching the TV show version of it. Do you know what I mean? Like, I'm not there. Like, I can do that with Star Wars, but I can't do that with John Wick. Well, not that I can't, but I choose not to.
See, here's the thing. I think the franchise works so well. I think like other movies, like we talked about Havoc recently, and there are other Netflix adjacent movies that are really seeing the success of John Wick and how it's become bigger than a cult status.
Yeah.
And they're trying to like borrow things from it. Like we can have our own John Wick. You know, like we had that film Love Hurts come out earlier this year that I still haven't seen. But it felt like it kind of borrowed those elements. But in a way, we're getting oversaturated of that type of movie now, where it feels like it's actually doing a disservice back to the franchise that's actually inspiring those movies.
That's true. There is a John Wick style out there that's being imitated. And I will, maybe this gives a little bit into like my feelings on Ballerina, but I felt watching Ballerina that like, oh, nobody can do it better than the fight choreography team in the John Wick films. Like the imitators aren't nearly as good.
I think I'd agree with you to some extent, because I felt that I was expecting Ballerina to kind of go full circle of those other movies and be an extension of them and almost be like, right, I get that this is set in the John Wick world, but this is an imitator. Yeah. And surprisingly, I was wrong. It was a lot of fun.
Well, this was their kind of test in a way, wasn't it? Can we do the John Wick franchise without Keanu Reeves? Is it worth putting money into this? Sort of, yeah, like... Is Ana de Armas and worthy as an action star? Because we saw her in the James Bond film
No Time to Die
for like a snippet. Oh, Cody's coming up. Come on, buddy. Coming in.
More than welcome.
More than welcome.
But she really I think a lot of people remembered her from that. Like she had a small sliver of that movie, but she stayed in a lot of people's minds. And I think I was like a prototype for her, wasn't it?
Yes. To the point where I was like, did she show up in John Wick 3? Like I was trying to cross my brain. I was getting the two franchises mix it up a little bit. So she's not turned up in the John Wick films before.
Yeah.
They've put her in here now, Ballerina, doing the thing. But I mean, she's a worthy action star here. She's a good actress. These films never allow kind of the dialogue and the story to be the centerpiece of these films. So like, we all know Keanu Reeves is quite stilted in terms of his acting, but he's
weaponized that.
He's weaponized it.
Yeah.
He's charming. But even Ana de Armas here does feel a little bit stilted. But yeah, I mean, I think this was them trying to see, can we do this? And from like just a film point of view, it's like, yeah, you can set films in this universe because there's so many different weird areas you can explore about this world full of killers that aren't really hiding in the shadows or anything like that.
They're just like in hotels in every major city that I guess like the average, like you or I could walk into these hotels. Like I think it'd almost be a funny bit if you walked into one of these hotels full of assassins and you see like, I don't know, like an American family with Hawaiian shirts in the background just trying to check in.
I'm surprised there hasn't been like a credit card company that has picked up on that idea of like advertisers in front of the film where they're like, or like booking.com, I don't know.
Yeah.
Airbnb being like, when you can't get into the Continental,
like,
come to Airbnb.
Yeah, like it's not subtle. It's not like you go through some underground like Harry Potter like thing where you like got to put a certain password in. You just a hotel in the middle of the street. But yeah, no, I think it's a lot of fun. It's really lean.
Yeah.
Which I wasn't expecting, but was welcomed, and I appreciate the lack of exposition.
Yes, it's half an origin story, half a revenge story. They kind of just like mix it together, and yeah, it is, considering like some of the John Wick films like can sometimes be a little bit convoluted in terms of, because they're trying to do so much world building.
Sure.
I don't think the stories are that complex. It's usually just a revenge story, like most of them are. But this one just didn't feel like it had as much padding, I guess. It just felt like action piece to action piece, and there's so much action they fit into this like 2-hour film.
I think the pitfall that a lot of films kind of fall into in this genre is so many characters, because you're setting up all these different factions and all these little micro wars that are happening between these factions, and then we got to like, oh, who's the head of this organization, who's the son of the organization, and this movie's just kind of like, well, just like you know what the plot is. It's a revenge story. Have fun with the action. We're going to go set piece to set piece. And it was really nice just to kind of like today on a Saturday morning switch my brain off,
Yeah.
and just kind of enjoy the feast of it all. And it does build and build,
Yeah.
and the sequences do get better as they go along too.
And they're having a lot of fun with them. They're having fun with the choreography. They're doing some kind of silly things. There's even a moment where you do see like a screen in the background with
like old movies.
Yeah. And what's his name?
Like Chaplin? Or
No, the other
Keaton?
one. Buster Keaton.
Yes.
You see the Buster Keaton scene
Yeah.
with the house falling on him and he's through the window. And it was like
Oh, the general?
yeah. So you see like those nice moments. Even though that looked a bit clumsy in the film, I will say that. But you're like, oh, I see what they're doing. They're trying to say like, this is what we're aspiring to. We're aspiring to that old school action and, you know, choreography used as comedy. Like these set pieces aren't dull. Like I usually hate gun like fights in films. Like they're so boring. And that's where like John Wick has been like, no, we're doing this properly. Like every scene is going to have something interesting going on. And then with Ballerina, it's like, yeah, we're going to give her different weapons to play with. There's a whole sequence where she's just kind of got like a bag of grenades.
Yeah.
Just people get obliterated.
Yeah, she has like guns everywhere. There's guns everywhere, and she chooses the grenades.
Yeah, and that's a fantastic moment. I really enjoyed that scene. That scene in particular was great. But yeah, I mean, I overall, you kind of know what you're getting with these films, but I'm always surprised by just how much fun I have with the action and just how well done it is. And this was actually my first film from the John Wick world
that you watched
that I've seen in the cinema, which I feel, I realize now why I should have gone to see the other ones in the cinema, because I think there was an element of like when they came out, there were other things playing in the cinema, and some of the John Wick films are quite long, and I was like, oh, I kind of know what I'm getting from them. Like, I'll catch up with it at home. Like, I'll just, you know, I could eat a pizza at the same time and do it. Like, those kind of films where you want to do that. But actually, seeing Ballerina in the cinema, I was like, this action on the big screen looks fantastic. So there's that. But yeah. Story's always weak. Story's always weak. They know the formula by now.
It's not flawless.
It's not flawless.
Yeah, like I know we said we'd like not to have too much lore in these movies, but I do feel like this movie needs a little bit more. Especially, I feel what is lost in the movie, while the action's really fun, and I think it's what you were saying earlier about Ana de Armas being a little bit stilted. I don't think it's her fault. I think the character is just a little bit underwritten. We get a really good prologue where we see her as a little kid, and we see the trauma of her father being murdered, and then there's a little bit of anger and there's a bit of momentum built up to her upbringing, and like, right, this is what she's striving to do. But then that kind of gets a little bit lost and diluted as the movie goes on. We get introduced to the cult that killed her father, and led by Gabriel Byrne. He's kind of going through the motions a little bit for me anyway.
Yeah.
And we kind of don't even get an idea of what their ideology as an organization is. It just kind of like, these are the bad guys. And I guess that in a way that's liberating as a viewer, in a world that's full of convoluted plot lines. But I did miss a little bit, something just to get me a little bit more like invested in this woman, and just kind of be like, yes, I absolutely want her to succeed, as opposed to just enjoying the amazing action.
No, I get that. There's like hints throughout, and I don't want to like go into spoiler territory just yet. So there are like little hints of like what certain people's backstories could be. Okay. But it almost feels like they leave that on the table at the end of the film. Like they're either not that interested in it, or they think that the answer they've given you is enough. But as an audience member, I was like, I feel like there should have been more there. Like it felt like they were teasing more.
Well, maybe that's it. This is like the playground. This is the testing ground for well, do you guys want a spin-off John Wick universe? You know, we got ideas in the pipeline, so we just had to see if you guys like it. It's a lot of fun. Producer Lauren didn't love it, though.
Producer Lauren, not a massive fan.
She's doing a thumbs down right now.
Mainly because it was boring?
Yeah. And I like the original John Wick.
There you go.
More.
Yeah.
I say mainly because it was boring. Mainly because you thought it was boring.
Yes. You like Keanu?
Yeah, my expectations were higher.
Okay. Like, it's not perfect, and I completely agree with anybody who's like, I hated this. Well, I don't know. I hated this movie, but if anybody disliked it, I can see why. Like, there's flaws every nook and cranny in this movie.
Yeah, and I guess in a way they don't do much to differentiate Ana de Armas from John Wick. Like, for a lot of the film, she's even got like a very similar haircut and suit thing going on.
Yeah.
Like, they are just like, this is female John Wick.
I think the thing... Oh, we had to avoid spoilers, but
Yeah.
he does see a little bit of himself within her.
Yes.
In a world full of assassins that's really cold, I think there's a slight warmth to her that he kind of sees, but we'll get into that.
Well, shall we get into that?
Absolutely, you've been warned here. Spoiler territory.
Spoiler warning! Flame thrower!
I want to get into that.
Okay, yeah, I can tell you're itching at the bit to getting into the flamethrowers.
Look, the action in general, I think John Wick as a franchise, whenever it's working best, it's kind of in that Tarantino territory where it's like, what I'm seeing now is completely gratuitous.
Yeah.
Goddamn, is it like well choreographed and it looks amazing.
Yeah.
And I think even in John Wick and in Ballerina specifically, it's even better when it's underpinned by humor. And there are sequences. There's a sequence when Ana de Armas arrives at the cult's village. So they all live in the village all together.
Looks like the Swiss Alps or something.
Yeah.
I can't remember exactly where they said it was, but in the mountains. Looks beautiful.
Yeah.
It looks really good. Like, it made me wonder if they did just film in a village.
Yeah. Yeah, I think so. Yeah.
It looks amazing. Like, that whole sequence of, like, we're in this small town, this small village. I was like, the sense of place, perfect.
Everybody's wearing ski getup. And
it's like you go on a skiing holiday, but everybody might kill you.
Yeah, but they're all dressed normally. And, like, even the kids playing on the park swings are in on it.
And they might kill you as well, yeah.
Yeah. So there's, like, a sequence when she arrives there, when she's, like, ordering a coffee from like, a lodge cafe. And then, obviously, one of the cult members clocks her, comes in and tries to assassinate her, and becomes this big, long sequence. And there's a moment with her and the woman working there are having a fight with some plates of dishes, and it goes on for like way longer than you expect it. They're just both lying down at the floor at one point, just taking turns at smashing plates.
Yes, and whilst like trying to find the gun that's underneath the plate.
Yeah.
So they just, it's a really funny sequence that.
Yeah, and I think that's the thing, because they do set it up really well. At the beginning, there's like a really contrived sort of montage sequence where we're showing like how Ana de Armas is becoming like a good fighter.
Yeah, very similar to like what you've seen other places do, which is why I was like a little bit thinking maybe they shouldn't have gone down the Ballerina route, because I immediately think Red Sparrow, Black Widow. Like, we've seen those films, and she's not a ballerina in this for very much at all. But I do appreciate the montage of her fighting and building guns and doing all that cool stuff. It looks good.
Yeah, and it's really cool because the main woman who's training her, who's played by Sharon Duncan Brewster, tells her that she's trying to fight. She's doing a training sequence where she's fighting another man, and she's trying to fight him as if how he's trying to fight. So offense versus offense.
Yeah.
Where she should really just be using her weaknesses and her resourcefulness.
Yeah.
To kind of weaponize that against him, and that kind of comes into the action later on in the movie, because she's a very resourceful assassin that uses her surroundings, like the grenades, like the plates of dishes, whatever she can in the moment. And I really enjoyed that. Like, that's kind of a John Wick staple. If I don't have a gun on me, well, what am I going to grab? I'm going to grab the nearest thing.
Yeah.
That's a staple in every fight sequence.
Anything could be a weapon.
Yeah.
There are a lot of hammers in this, I thought.
A lot of hammers.
A lot of hammers just lying around.
There's like there's a sequence where she's got a gun and she tapes a knife to the bottom of the gun.
Yeah.
Quite cool.
Yeah.
So there's a lot of creativity here.
Yeah.
But which gets us to the flamethrower fight.
The flamethrower fight. The flare.
Fright.
The flare. Really good.
It is pretty great, actually. It made us giggle.
I've never seen a flamethrower put to the screen like that. And also, like,
it's not like a normal flamethrower that just like sprays a little bit. Like, it almost like is like a missile where it goes out like a dart and then expands.
Yeah, or like dragon's breath or something.
Yeah.
Like, if you replace the guy with a dragon and like each room just gets But also, if you hide behind one little thing, you won't get hit by the flamethrower. There's like some weird logic going on there. But yeah, it also got me like thinking about like, why did we create flamethrowers? What a horrible weapon. That's just like inhumane weapon.
It must have been like something that came from like an industrial, like sort of like it must have been used for some sort of like method first, like to help us in some way.
Sure.
And then it was just like, yeah, this can kill people.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It was a World War One thing, I think, wasn't it? Which is when we were kind of
Like, well,
at our most barbaric with like, how do we kill these people?
we're going to go down that route?
Well, I don't know. I'm just saying. Anyway,
Yeah.
it got me thinking, like, this is awful. Like, you wouldn't want to die like this. But also,
It's awesome.
yeah, it looks great.
Yeah.
It looks great.
It
What a cinematic death machine.
Well, there you go. It is very, like again, it's super gratuitous. But, you know, when we see her get the flamethrower for the first time, she says, you know, she's in a horrible situation. And she just says to herself, cool. But it is cool.
It's
almost like
very like Call of
fight.
Duty, isn't it?
Yeah, it reminded me of lightsabers in a way
Oh.
when they were fighting.
Oh, there is a moment where they both like
They
connect
collide. Yeah.
and then they spin.
Yes.
You see the flames
Yeah.
tornadoing. I laughed at that as well. There's quite a few moments to laugh at
Yeah.
in a good way, I think.
Yes.
The flamethrower fight.
Yeah, and then there's obviously the moment where she takes a fire hose when
Oh.
her flamethrower runs out. 'Cause
I love this moment.
She's been overdoing it with the flamethrower.
Yeah.
The needle's on zero. And your guy's still got a bit of it left in the tank.
Yeah.
So she grabs a fire hose from the nearest building, and they both, it's like Harry Potter and Voldemort, or like Avatar: The Last Airbender, where you're getting two elements fighting against each other. And it is so bonkers. You're like, that is so ballsy.
I wanted to clap at the end of that sequence.
Yeah.
I thought it was amazing. Like, I just absolutely love that. But then I also was thinking, who would win?
You were thinking of the technicality.
I like the
Science.
not throughout the whole thing, but like afterwards, I was thinking, like, would that work?
I don't know.
I feel like we need somebody on YouTube to do that, like flamethrower versus hose, but like
Yeah.
a proper hose.
Yeah, a fireman reacts to this scene.
Yeah. Like, do you think that would work? I feel like it wouldn't.
Yeah. I don't know, but it's
I
cool.
feel like the flamethrower wins, right?
But like, have you seen those fire hoses? A lot of power behind this.
Yeah.
They make a man fall down.
Yeah. Neither of us have the expertise to actually know
No.
what the truth is.
No.
But it's fun.
Yeah.
It's so much fun. There are just some great sequences. You were talking about the plate sequence. There's a moment where she traps her in like the kitchen fridge.
Yeah.
And traps her in there, and then she comes out later whilst they're still fighting. But as she bounces out the door, she takes out another henchman.
Oh yeah.
Somebody on her own side. Like, silly little things like that.
There's a lot of grenades.
Norman Reedus turns up, and he has a pretty powerful shotgun that just sounds amazing in the cinema when that happens.
Yeah, he's pretty cool. He plays a dad in this. It's like, I like him to look after me with a shotgun. He can escort me out of a hotel.
He's been kind of typecast now. Like, they don't even cut his hair or anything.
His
in
hair
any
is
of the
iconic.
scene.
Yeah.
They're just like, just be who you are in The Walking Dead.
Is he more like synonymous with like Walking Dead now, or Kojima? He's like Kojima's guy.
I think it's more Walking Dead still.
Yeah.
I think it is. Like, I think Kojima picked him because of The Walking Dead.
Sure.
Or, you go further back, Boondock Saints.
Yes, of course. Yeah.
Yeah. A lot of people love that film.
I haven't seen it.
I don't love it. We should probably talk a little bit as well about the John Wick of it all.
Yeah.
He's in it.
Yeah,
We knew that from the trailer. We didn't know how much he was going to be in it. And he's in it for a very small sequence at the start. And then I was quite surprised to find him coming back at the end. Were you surprised at that?
No, because I saw it in the trailer.
Oh, okay. I don't remember that bit from the trailer.
Yeah, there's a little bit because they're at the ruins at the end of the movie, and they show that in the trailer where he's like warning her to back off.
Oh.
So I knew there was going to be some sort of clash coming up in the movie,
Okay.
but I saw that trailer like a year ago, like you, so I could understand why you forget it.
I don't remember that. I remember John Wick being in it. I don't remember any of the dialogue, any of the background scenery. So I was happy for that moment. And again, they're so good at setting him up as the Baba Yaga and coming in with this presence of like, oh shit, that's John Wick. And I love that. I love that about these films, that they've kind of been able to set that up for him. And he is. It's almost like getting like the level 100 guy come in.
Oh yeah, the boss fight.
Yeah. Even though
but you know he's a good guy.
Yeah, it's a mini boss fight.
Yeah.
But yeah, I was surprised. But they also allow her to take the final action scenes for herself.
Mm-hmm.
Like, he doesn't turn up throughout the whole of the flamethrower sequence until the very end.
Yeah.
Like, he is very much just like watching over her for a minute. And I quite like that. They didn't just have the two of them teaming up and, doing all the action together, and therefore maybe not being so confident that they could do a film without John Wick. But I think the amount he's in it, and if it does well, and critically we think it's pretty good, and hopefully other critics do as well, but you could do it. You could do it, right?
Yeah, I mean, he's like sort of not passing the baton on, but like it's almost like his character and the movie is testing her. He's like, you've got to midnight. I've been set to kill you.
Yeah.
I feel for this situation. You got 40 minutes to sort this out, or else I'll end it for you.
Yeah.
But he does help her along the way. But yeah, it's really cool, and just makes you root for her even more, I think, at the end. I think the last 30 minutes of the movie is genuinely just where it shines. As soon as we reach that village, it just escalates and escalates and escalates.
Yeah.
And I guess we were told that the movie's, like, according to online, it's 89 minutes. I'm sure it's longer.
I think that was a Google thing. So when we Googled it, hour and a half.
Yeah.
If you look on Letterboxd, it is 2 hours and 5 minutes.
Oh, okay.
So it's still pretty lean for a John Wick or World of John Wick film. But yeah, we went thinking it was going to be an hour and a half.
Yeah.
I think I remember I checked my watch at one point and I was like, this is longer than an hour and a half.
It's like, it's not slow.
No, it doesn't feel like it, but I did feel like we must be at the end soon because they do fit so much action in.
Maybe that's why, Lauren, you struggled with it. You're like, this thing is dragging.
Yeah, half an hour too long. But yeah, I mean, I thought it was fantastic. Really did enjoy the action. I do think it is, story-wise, it's always going to be basic. Well, maybe we shouldn't let it pass for that. It could be a better story.
That's the thing. I can see the edges where, like, I could see the emotional through line for this movie, but I do think it sort of failed on that level to kind of really make me. I love a revenge story. I love it. Like, I watched a movie a couple of years ago called Nightingale, which is a revenge story with a completely different setting. But I felt so emotionally overwhelmed by that movie. I was like, oh my God, I really want to see this person kind of like, come across the odds here. And here I'm just kind of going for the emotions and just enjoying the ride. Yeah. It's a roller coaster of a movie more than anything.
There might have been a little bit of like production stuff going on as well.
Sure.
So there are a few rumors that a lot of it was reshot by Chad Stileski, who did the 4 John Wick films. Here it was directed by, you've got it on the iPad.
Len Wiseman. He hasn't
Die Hard with a Vengeance and stuff like that, wasn't it?
Yeah, maybe Total Recall was
Total Recall.
Movie?
Yeah. The writer, Shay Hatton, he wrote a speculative script, which was Ballerina, and I believe the John Wick directors hired him on to write John Wick 3 and 4, or like part of it anyway. He was part of the writing team behind that one. And that's why there's elements of Ballerina within John Wick 3.
Oh, okay.
They then said, rewrite your script for Ballerina to be part of the John Wick universe and we'll make it, kind of thing.
Yeah, because we already know what this Ballerina core is when we come into the movie.
Yeah.
So that works. So you mean like when you say speculative script, for anybody like watching or listening?
Yeah, so it's known, I called it a speculative script, but it is actually known as a spec script, but I'm just assuming that the word is speculative.
Yeah.
You would imagine. So people would just write scripts to kind of showcase their writing style. So I think he watched the John Wick 2 trailer. I might be wrong on all this, so I'm just like all hearsay and all this kind of stuff. He watched the John Wick 2 trailer and was like, I want to write a film within this, or like inspired by this universe. Use that to help him get other jobs. It ended up on the blacklist. Are you aware of that?
Yeah.
So you're aware of the blacklist. I'm going to say 2017 or 2016, it was on the shortlist for best unproduced screenplays. So I think, you are probably taking something that probably did have a pretty good screenplay as far as we know of its accolades. You're then bringing in a director, moving it into the John Wick universe. Maybe it didn't work fully. Who knows? Again, all hearsay. Chad Stileski comes on board. He's obviously an amazing director and fight choreographer, stuntman, the whole thing. Mixes in those incredible fight scenes, and maybe that, kind of like punched up the movie a little bit. Either way, it doesn't feel like a film that was reshot.
No, not at all.
And yeah, like I said, might all be a rumor. So, do you think our audience, our viewers now and listeners, should go and watch Ballerina, or From the World of John Wick, Ballerina? I can't remember what the full title is. It's something ridiculous.
Look, I'm going to say absolutely, because no doubt about it, it's the first weekend that this movie's playing, right? And it's not going to do as well as the rest of the John Wick movies. We know it's not going to do as well. So I'd say go out and support it because I think you're going to like have as good of a time. If you like John Wick because of those amazing action set pieces, well, like there's nothing diminutive here. Like they're all sort of it's in line with that, and it's just finding new ways to be creative with that. Yeah. You know, the physicality of Ana de Armas as an action performer, I think, is really cool. And the movie moves, you know, it keeps moving along. You're not going to be dumbed down with boring exposition or anything. It's very minimal. It's like 2 hours of a really nice time to spend your weekend, or like wherever you're going to see this movie.
Yeah, I agree. Obviously, producer Lauren might not agree as much.
No,
but I thought it was fun. I had a lot of fun with the action movies. My first John Wick film in the cinema, and I was.
You wore a badge just saying my first
time here, guys. I had a lot of fun. I had a lot of fun with the action, and I was thoroughly entertained. Yeah. Very entertaining movie. And an entertaining cinema experience going to see it with yourself and producer Lauren.
Yeah, absolutely.
Would you like to know the history of the flamethrower?
Ooh, go on.
Yeah.
It was invented in 1901 by German scientist Richard Fielder. It was first used in 1915 in World War One, and the device name was the Klein Flammenwerfer.
Ah.
Say that again.
Klein Flammenwerfer.
sounds like a dessert.
I'm going to assume that's probably not how it's pronounced.
It sounds good.
Klein Flammenwerfer.
Yes.
Probably Werfer, isn't it?
Werfer.
Probably shouldn't do German accents.
Werfer?
Yeah, so it was always intended as a killing machine.
Yeah, that's what it was invented for.
There you go.
Oh, wow. So
us, humans, terrible, right?
Yeah.
A collective of us, yes. Not us, right?
Well, we didn't create the flamethrower.
If you could.
But we did enjoy that sequence.
Yes.
What does that make us?
Well, I guess that we're sort of like, we're kind of fans of him.
No, no, neither of us are saying that. Neither of us are saying that.
Yeah, I mean, I guess everything that you enjoy in life has a pretty horrible historical origin. Best not to think about it.
Yeah.
As my stance on the flamethrower, it's a lot of fun in this movie.
Yeah, they've reclaimed it.
Yeah.
They've reclaimed the flame.
This is not going in.
This is going in. This is going in. And let's move on to the next review though, shall we?
Okay, let's do it.
So this is the segment of the podcast where we go into our Sight and Sound greatest films of all time blind spots. We've been slowly making our way down the very famous list. We're now currently on number 11, Chris.
I can see the end in sight.
We're on number 11, which is F.W. Murnau's Sunrise, A Song of Two Humans from 1927. Another silent film on the list here. And we're getting close to the end now. So it's almost as if like some of these films have a little bit more expectation on them.
Yeah.
So Sunrise is it's another silent film.
Although the first one that's not a comedy.
Yep. Oh, sorry. I thought you were going to start talking about the music and the sound.
And also, also the first one that is it was shot on movie tone.
Yep.
So basically that meant that it had synchronized music into the film.
And sound effects.
Which I think this was the first film to do that too.
Yeah, or one of, I think.
The first commercially distributed movie.
That might be the case. So Murnau was a German director who, after World War I, relocated to America and ended up making films in the Hollywood studio system. I think his past had been like German Expressionism.
Yeah, he made Nosferatu.
Yes, of course.
The big one.
The big one.
Yeah.
He has a past in German Expressionism, and he kind of like takes that style here a little bit. It's like 50-50 classic Hollywood with a little bit of German Expressionism in there as well. And it's quite a simple tale. It's a bit of a fable. It is about a man who's having an affair with a city girl.
Yeah.
He's a farmer. And she says to him, kill your wife and come live in the city with me.
Yeah.
So he's like,
It's not subtle.
It's not subtle. He's like, all right, I'm going to go kill my wife.
Yeah.
He hesitates.
It takes a while to get him to that point.
Yeah, it takes him a little too long to hesitate, but he's out on the on the lake, ready to strangle her and pretend that she's drowned. He decides not to do it, but his wife, witnesses him about to kill her.
Yeah.
So she is fully aware of the situation.
Yes. She thinks she's going to be like, because she's been sad for a long time. We have a backflash in their marriage at one point where they were happy as like newlyweds and they were having their honeymoon. They looked different people completely.
Yep.
And I think there's a little bit of her every day that hopes that husband will come back to her.
Yeah.
It's not her fault. I feel it's like he's the breakdown of this relationship.
Oh, 100%, 100%. He's a dickhead, isn't he?
He is an asshole.
Yeah, there's no getting around it. You really do have to, because I guess the remainder of the film then is she almost has to learn to love him again because of his regret of the situation. They end up in the city as she's kind of like running away from him. And he kind of has a bit of a breakdown. It's just like, I don't know why I did this. And he learns why he loved her to begin with. And she has to kind of like fall back into that time period as well. They have this amazing time in the city. And so, it's 1927.
Yeah.
It is a fable. I mean, even at that time, I guess you wouldn't take him back. Like, ridiculous, but...
No, but we're dealing with silent cinema.
Yeah.
Everything is overt. Everything is allegorical to like real life situations.
Yeah. It's a play. And it's less so about taking back a man who almost murdered you and more about kind of, being appreciative of the person you're with in the first place, right?
Yeah, I think it's about complacency in marriage where, there was a honeymoon period where we were happy as anything, but then life got in the way, kids got in the way, and like we just kind of got used to being settled. I think it's an extreme representation of that, and it's there to remind people like there's a reason why like that person's there for you, and that you can rekindle your love again. Yeah,
and obviously there have been films since this film that probably deal with the nuances of that without having to put a murder in, but we were trying to entertain people back then at the same time. Absolutely. So you kind of have to get past that a little bit. But not like it's fantastic, right?
I love this movie.
Yeah,
like it surprised me. I knew it had a reputation of being considered one of the greatest silent films ever made, and but I just saw so many traces of creativity in this movie that were just constantly surprising me. It's a very like VFX, visual effects heavy movie.
Yeah,
and every attempt at visual effects succeeds and holds up so well. There's so many beautiful like dissolves and special effects. Even the font, like a lot of silent films use font cards that put in place of obviously the dialogue that's not there. We all know that.
And they're pretty basic. They're just like
very sparse, yeah.
Yeah, but I mean like in previous silent films.
Oh yeah.
That we've seen.
Oh no, help me or something.
Yeah. Whereas these are used quite creatively at times.
Poetic in a way. Yeah, absolutely. Visually, because there is the moment where the woman from the city is propositioning to the husband to drown her, and the word drowned actually has a visual effect where it kind of melts into the screen, and it's so cool. And like, you didn't have to do that.
No,
there's a lot of extra effort put in this movie.
Yeah, it is, and there's some like really cool like split diopter shots at the start.
Yes,
but I imagine what they're doing is probably like fusing film together more so there. Yeah, like there's stuff I'm like I don't know how they're doing it
because it's risky. Because like if you're playing around a film that way, you risk losing the shot.
Yeah, I loved how kind of creatively unique it was and how much it was pushing the boundaries of what you could do with the technology that they had back in 1927 in a way that like I feel like films aren't even doing that now. Like we spoke about Ballerina earlier, like there's some cool shots in that, but we're not really pushing the boundaries of what's possible. No. And I like that film.
Yeah, of course, me too. But like, we're not innovating, and we're seeing somebody here who's just so excited about what the medium can do. And it like and using sound and score integrated into the film for like one of the first times, and it's so powerful. Like it uses a mixture of classical music and some music written for the movie, and it's used comedically. And then there's this big emotional swings that kind of come out of nowhere, and you're like, I didn't know I was so wrapped up in this story. I felt so emotional come the end of it, and especially those moments where they did rekindle their love for each other again. I thought they were so beautifully realized, and they seem to actually have a rapport. I need to talk about Janet Gaynor.
She's MVP of the film.
She is incredible. She is, an absolute beacon. Shot, anytime the camera's on her, it feels like a spotlight is following her. I'm pretty sure it is. But she just has this quality of innocence, but strength within that innocence at the same time. And you just can't help but root for her. You want the marriage to work for her more than anything.
Yes.
And it's amazing. I love the sets. Like you were saying, that what I love about silent period film and German expressionism is this sort of marriage between the West and European culture. So the town that we're in at the beginning, this peasant it's kind of like a peasant village.
Yeah.
It has a fairy tale quality.
Yeah, also a holiday destination.
Which is like 10 minutes from this metropolis city.
Yeah.
Yeah. So it's so cool. So it's very dreamy from the outset.
Yeah.
You don't really have a feel where you are. It's message first, and like, we're not really as interested in the geography of this, which I really love. And then you go to the city, which is like this giant... I didn't realize it was a set at the beginning. I thought we were just shooting this as some sort of like back sort of streets in Hollywood, and we were just dressing it up a little bit. No, they built like spent like $200,000 in 1927 money to build this giant set. So expensive they ended up using it for other films later on.
Ooh, I'd love to know which ones.
Yeah, so like this giant cafe they go into where the ceilings, I love verticality in 20s films. If you ever watch like movies like Phantom of the Opera or whatever, and they go to the carnival in this movie, and it's just like, we're not going wide, we're going tall. Yeah. And people are little figures and everything. And you're like, are these real people? Like, the visual effect of seeing the depth of these images, seeing big metropolis skyscrapers in the background, and you can still see little people walking around, and they don't look fake. And you're like, are they just intersecting different footage together? It's amazing. Right?
I think at that part, I was like fully in the film, that I wasn't even picking these things out. It all just looked like it should to me. Like, that's how I felt. I think the only bit I was questioning during the carnival scene was, did they get that pig drunk?
Yeah, I think they did.
I
haven't looked this up, but I don't want to look it up.
I was watching his feet, and he's kind of slipping on the floor, so I think the floor is oiled up.
Yeah.
And maybe
okay.
Like the camera's obviously staying still, and the set's moving. That's what I'm telling myself.
It's 2 years shy of being a 100-year-old film. I mean, we hope for the best, don't we?
Can you get a pig drunk?
Yeah, I'm sure you could, but I mean,
Producer Lauren,
and I'm sure they.
Can you get a pig drunk?
Did they get a pig drunk?
Did they get a pig drunk? That's what we need to know. She's looking it up.
Yeah.
She's looking it up. But yeah, no, that was the only bit I was questioning. But I want to talk about another animal in the film. Okay.
Yeah.
Did dogs peak in 1927 with our goodest boy in this film, the dog of the couple?
Yeah.
He is straight away knows what's up. He knows the husband is going to marry. The husband is unmarry.
Forcefully,
violently. He knows that the husband is going to murder Janet Gaynor and is taking her out in the boat to do that.
Yeah.
He is strapped up. He is like chained. He pulls off his chain, bolts down the driveway, jumps over the fence.
He does a dive.
Dives into the sea and swims out to the boat.
Yeah.
What a good boy.
Yeah.
How did he know? What a good boy.
They just know. Any horror movie, they know when ghosts are around. They know when bad shit's about to happen.
What a adorable dog, though.
Yeah, but dogs are awesome. Right?
Yeah. Do you think Cody would do that? Do you think Willow would do that?
Yeah. This thing?
I don't know if the camera can see Willow here.
No,
she's asleep on Chris's lap.
Yeah, I got a Cavalier King Charles Spaniel on my lap, and she does not animate much.
Yeah,
yeah. we have to force her to walk every day.
And Cody, my golden retriever, is butt to butt with me right now.
Yeah.
Also can't see it on the camera.
Enthusiastic, but not coordinated.
What, Cody?
Well, yeah.
Oh, we're critiquing each other's.
We're critiquing your dogs.
All right. Well, prepare to go.
He wants to. You can throw it all on me. I know. He wants to catch the ball. Low success rate.
Yeah, but we're
working on it.
But would stop people from murdering me. I think.
I think so too.
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah.
Willow wouldn't know which one was you.
No, she'd probably help.
She'd try.
She should probably help the murderer.
She'd try. Anywhere on the pig, Lauren? No historical evidence as to whether that pig was actually drunk. Well, let's move on. Let's move on from the animals.
Well, that part of the movie is really funny when they get to the carnival because, like you were saying, that they go to town and they end up having this amazing day together.
Yeah,
but it's not without its little trickles of problems as well. From his point of view, his eye is wandering and he is enticed by the activities that they do. And the pig one is one of them. Whenever they're like...
Yeah.
So part of the pig thing is that they have this sort of like, when you do the like activities to win teddies or whatever, like our stuffed animals. And this one, you throw like a baseball at a target and it lets a trap door open with a pig come out and go down a slide. That's your reward. And he's obsessed with this game.
Yeah.
He keeps like... She sees a couple dancing in the ballroom.
She wants to go and dance.
And it's like, yeah, we've done this for the 10 minutes now. Can we move on? And he's like, no, I just want to play this game.
Which is ridiculous because you are on the back foot here. You're on the back foot.
Yeah, he quickly forgets.
Yeah, he quickly forget he tried to murder her 10 minutes ago.
Yeah, so I like that it's not like, oh, we're just going to be on board with this guy for the whole thing.
Yeah, I don't think I was ever fully on board with it. Like, I was on board with the message of the fable, but, like, I was never on board with him. I thought it would have been more powerful if he died at the end. That was my thinking.
Interesting. Yeah, it would have been upsetting to have him not learn.
Or maybe Janet Gaynor should have died at the end because there's another moment where we think she might die, right?
Yeah.
So they take the boat back to the farm after their day out in the city. The wind kicks up and basically it gets shipwrecked. He makes it back to the land and they think potentially
amazing sequence.
His wife is dead. There's almost a part of me that thinks, yeah, do you know what? You deserve that.
Yeah.
Not Janet Gaynor.
No.
Like, she doesn't deserve any of this, but, like, maybe that's his punishment.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean, it makes sense. But then it would be horrible because the woman from the city, who's kind of like our Disney evil queen of this movie. This movie is very Disney.
Yeah.
This is like an old Walt Disney Snow White, but like a little bit more adult. But I think she would have won in the end.
I don't think he would have gone back to her, though. So then he would have just been lonely.
But she would have still had that power that she made a man do this.
He's quite violent, isn't he? He strangles her a few times in the film. Even just the suggestion of murdering his wife at the very start, he goes to strangle her.
I thought she was going to die in that moment. I thought she wouldn't have made it.
You thought that was where the film was going?
Yeah, he was shaking her like a rag doll.
Yeah, and then even at the end, he strangles her because she's like, oh, you did it then. And it's like, whoa. All right, obviously evil. You shouldn't ask anybody to kill their other half. But, like, this is on you, dude.
Yeah.
This isn't on her, mostly.
Yeah.
But, yeah. No.
It's really hard to kind of place yourself 98 years ago and try to, like, bring your own moral, like, touch to the film because you're just going to be at a losing game. I think the core message of the movie, like, I do see it as completely allegorical and just an extreme version of, like, what this movie's trying to be targeted towards. I think targeted towards couples that maybe have kind of lost a little bit of a spark or something like that.
Yeah.
And I think on that level it kind of works.
Yeah.
But yeah, don't take it literally.
I know. I've tried.
I'm not you. I know you're not. I'm just saying if you're watching this movie for the first time, I would say don't take it literally and try not to. I think you can judge him for the whole movie.
Yeah, you can still judge him. I think that's what I'm saying. I judge him. I still really enjoyed the film. I also just really like the aspect of, and I feel like we haven't seen that a lot in film, where somebody goes to murder somebody, like, you know, somebody they love, or maybe not love, but like, I'll start again with this. Somebody goes to murder their wife, and the wife knows that they're about to do it, but the person hesitates. That's an emotional kind of story beat there, which I don't feel like I've seen a lot of.
Yeah, the shame is is extreme.
Like, I felt for her so strongly in that moment. Like, how'd you go back from that? And then for him, because obviously the hesitation comes with so much regret, it's almost like that thing of like, have you committed a crime if you've only thought about it? Mm-hmm. I guess maybe we have seen that story, but that is Total Recall. Films come up twice. Yeah. Films come up twice today. No, that's not Total Recall. Minority Report.
Minority Report.
I have to
watch that again.
Yeah, it's good. It's a good Spielberg sci-fi film. But yeah, all that emotional stuff I was really into. Into that.
Yeah, because there's like, they don't go into the city out of their own volition. They kind of, it comes out of that conflict of him trying to murder her. They go back.
Like, I just need to get away.
Yeah, she runs onto a tram that takes you which that looks like not real. There's this tram that comes into the town and it looks like it's spinning on a dial. It looks like they must have made it for the movie. It's amazing. But they both run into the tram together and they don't say like a word to each other for the whole journey into the city.
Really powerful.
It is really powerful. And the shame is overwhelming, and again, like the amount of extras that are in the background that are just kind of like, they compound it even more because the hustle and bustle of the city is like, they can't even like find a nook and cranny to kind of have their own private moment to kind of like sort this out. So it's beautiful and powerful that it sorts itself out organically just for action. And that's like, that's why silent movie is so amazing and such amazing form. Like, we should watch more silent films because I feel like every time we watch them, we're like it's at least a 4 or 5 star movie. Like we're just, they're unequivocal in that way. And I feel like less is more. Like, we don't need dialogue to tell a story all the time.
It's true. I completely agree. And I think my problem is the idea sometimes of watching a silent film. Like, I don't want to go out of my way for it.
I'll be honest, I felt the same like this time. I was like, is this going to, with a BFI film, there's always a worry. It's like, is this going to be homework?
Yeah.
And then it's so nice when you watch it and you're like, in the first 5 minutes, you've already like proven me wrong.
Yeah.
I was on board from the beginning, from the incredible sets and just how simple the story was to follow. Like, this isn't complicated. This is very straightforward.
No.
But you just get to enjoy every trick that's up Murna's sleeve. Yeah. It's absolutely powerful, beautiful, funny at times. But it will stay with you. Like, every set piece will stay with me. I think it will for a long time.
I can see that. And fun fact, it was the winner of... there were like 2 awards at the first ever Oscars. Not most... So it didn't win Most Outstanding Film, which is what we would know as the best film. Or
it has a long title, this one.
It's like Most Unique and Artistic Film.
Yes.
Yeah. So it won the Oscar for that. And then Janet Gaynor also won the Academy Award for Best Actress. But you didn't win for one film.
She won for 3.
You win for all the films you did that year.
Yeah. Specifically this film, I think it was for. But she was also given it for 3 movies in total. Yeah.
Yeah. So interesting how they did all of that.
Yeah.
But yeah, so there you go. The first ever Oscar winner, in a way. One of them. Some of them. 100 years, very soon.
It's in the public domain. So, like, anybody who wants to watch this, you can.
Yes, so different versions.
Yeah, yes.
So we had to kind of like communicate on this to get to finding the right one. So on the BFI player, there is a Czech version of the film.
Yeah.
So there are 2 Czech versions. There's one that has a large portion of it cut. Mm-hmm. I guess this is from when they were kind of recovering some of the footage because it was another film that was kind of lost to time a little bit.
Yeah, it was lost in that fire.
Or you have the hour and a half version, which we saw, but has Czech
subtitles,
not subtitles, art cards,
title cards,
all that kind of stuff. But you kind of do want to have the English title cards because they do use them in like really artistic ways.
Yeah.
So because it's public domain, there are a lot of versions of it on YouTube. So we watched one on YouTube in the end, didn't we?
Yeah.
But it did have a little bit of upscaling, I think, on it.
You can also watch this on Wikipedia as well, the full version.
I did not know.
I discovered that later, but yeah, I actually used ChatGPT to tell me which version to watch. I gave it a link to the version we ended up watching.
Oh, interesting.
So yeah, just go for YouTube. If it's around 90 minutes long and it has music,
yes,
and it looks decent, just go for that one.
Yeah, and English, well, if you are English. If you're Czech, well, then watch the Czech version. But, if you're English, you might want to have the English title cards.
Yeah.
Because although we're all fine with reading subtitles, there's just like the artistic direction of those title cards are great.
Yeah, you want as close to the original experience as possible, and we made that sound more complicated than it actually is. It's not. It'll take you 5 minutes, I promise.
So yeah, I mean, I loved it. You loved it?
Yeah, like absolutely. One of my favorite movies we've watched on the BFI list in total. So yeah, this is a movie I'm so glad to have seen. So yeah, like going into the top 10 now, I'm really, really excited just to like, obviously there's going to be some crossover in movies we've seen before. This time it's a little bit different. We've skipped movies we've seen before, but top 10, we're just like, what's the top 10? We're going to watch all of these now and kind of evaluate them, regardless if we've seen them. So really excited to do that.
Yeah, definitely, definitely. Yep. Watching every single one from now on, apart from 2001: A Space Odyssey. But I think you'll be quite excited for the next one.
Okay.
Number 10. Do you know what it is?
It's not my musical, is it?
It is.
Singing in the Rain.
Your favorite, like one of your favorite films of all time, right?
Yeah, it is. It's just like, it makes me so happy and giddy every time I watch that movie. I've seen it 100 times. Make it 101 now, baby.
I've seen it once. I really loved it as well.
Did you?
So
I
it's,
thought you were kind of like a little lukewarm on it. Or
was I?
maybe 5. If anything's under 5 stars for me of that movie, maybe I think it's lukewarm.
Okay, maybe it was that. Maybe I gave it 4 stars. Yeah, no, I really like Singing in the Rain. At least I thought I did. But yeah, we're going to go back into it. Obviously, not a blind spot anymore. Maybe we've got to change the name of the series for the last 10. I don't know. But yeah, Singing in the Rain. That's the next one. But
Excited.
yeah, big thumbs up for Sunrise, though.
Yeah, absolutely. And producer Lauren said, well, you said it was like 9 your top 4 favorite films of all time.
5 stars.
Yeah.
5 stars from producer Lauren.
Yeah, absolutely. You know it's good because we put it on kind of late, and it's like sleepy time for Lauren usually, and then you were like,
I stayed up.
it became unsleepy time. It became, I'm watching this movie. Yeah. Yeah, it was
I
awesome.
couldn't find any info on that drunken pig, but would you like to know a drunken pig story?
Oh, go on.
So there was a feral pig in Western Australia called Swino. And he stole 18 cans of beer from campers on this campsite. He caused a ruckus by apparently picked a fight with a cow.
Okay.
Fisticuffs.
So pigs can get drunk.
They can get drunk.
Okay.
I'm sure anything can get drunk, right?
Drinking beer. And sadly, a little while later, he died in a car accident.
Oh.
Was he behind the wheel?
He was hit by a truck.
Oh. Do you know, that's
why.
I was about to say that's funny. It's not funny. But it's interesting. Janet Gaynor died of injuries sustained from a car accident.
A lot later in her life.
Murnau died in a car accident.
Yeah, he was driving. He had people, a lot of people in the car,
Yeah, so, yeah, man, cars weren't safe back then.
Yeah.
And you should definitely not let a pig drive a car.
Yeah. That was irresponsible of them.
After 18 cans of beer.
Exactly. Nobody can drive a car after 18 cans of beer, let alone a pig.
I can't, that's impressive, though. I couldn't physically fit 18 cans of beer at me.
That pig could drink you under the table.
I mean, it's a sad story, but kind of a heartwarming one.
Yeah.
He never got the 20.
Yeah. Interesting note to end this section,
Yeah.
But there you go. Pigs can get drunk.
Mm-hmm. And fly.
And drive. So, next week on the podcast, I mean, it is worth saying we are just going to try do video from now on. Not always a home show like this.
No, it'll be more like the
clips.
Yes,
the clips that you see on like Instagram or TikTok or YouTube if you follow us there.
Yeah.
Which is worth saying. Go follow us on YouTube because, the videos will be there probably even easier.
Absolutely.
I know Spotify do it, so we'll be video Spotify, but I'm not sure if Apple Podcasts do or anything like that. So, you can follow us in all kinds of different places now.
And YouTube's free.
And YouTube's free. So, yeah, a lot of it will probably be virtual shows from for a while. But when you're here, we can do the home show.
Yeah.
And maybe if you're permanently here in the future, this could be more of a thing.
Yes. I'd love to do that.
I'd love to do that as well. So, yeah, let us know what you think. Give us some feedback for this first one. Please be kind to us. We are just trying. We're roughing it.
Oh, yeah. Really rough with that.
Really roughing it. But next week I'll be back. It'll just be me this time. I interviewed a short filmmaker. He was very short. No, I have no idea.
Tiny man.
Tiny little filmmaker, man. No, I interviewed a filmmaker of a short film called The Sentry. The director's name was Jake Watchtel. It's a really good interview.
Nice.
I think he just had his film premiere at South by Southwest, and it's coming to Raindance. So if you're going to the Raindance Film Festival, which is happening after this episode comes out, then you might be able to catch it there. I really enjoyed the short film. So that'll be virtually available to you next week. So there we go. But that has been the episode for this week. If you liked us, please leave us a 5-star rating or review. We do really appreciate it. And if you want to go follow us, you can follow us on TikTok, Instagram, YouTube at The Film Angle.
We also have a Film Angle playlist. If you want to listen to what we listen to, you can find that in the show notes. Be sure to catch us next week for more cinematic discussions. But for now, see you later.
Goodbye.